Libra, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Now, keep in mind, these are general readings and they will not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements to receive those messages as well. And if you're interested in a personal reading, you can find the link for that in the description below, or you can just send me an email and we can set that up. Okay, my friends, let's get started for Libra and see what the current energy is around the week ahead for Libra. What is the current energy around the week ahead for Libra? Sun, Moon, and Rising, Libra. All right, Libra, let's see here. So we see a fiery climax approaches and a personal issue reaches resolution. Isn't that interesting? So you've got full moon in Aries, full moon in Cancer, and it seems as though something is coming to a resolution, and it could sort of have a fiery climax energy to it. So it might be something you've been anticipating for a while. It might be something that has needed a resolution for a while, and when it comes into resolution, it feels like a climactic moment because all this energy gets released. And it's interesting, as I say, all this energy gets released. The bottom of the deck says, what do you need to release? So that really makes me think here, Libra, there's something here that has been needing resolution or closure or release or expression, even just you expressing it or something getting expressed out loud. It feels like it's going to be a moment where it's almost like a tipping moment. It feels like a tipping moment where all of this truth is revealed and released and things become resolved. So if you're holding on to an issue right now, if there's been something that has just been sort of hanging on and needing some shift, you know, that feeling when you're in a situation or you're having an experience and you're like, this is not sustainable, and you feel it. You can feel how it's not, it can't possibly be sustainable for much longer. And there's a certain quality to that energy when something needs to shift, and then all of a sudden it does, and it comes into resolution, and it feels like it's going to involve a release. It feels like it's some kind of it almost feels like you're going to express how you really feel about something, and it's got to come into resolution, like you're going to resolve it. This is something I feel like you think about, and you're always sort of wondering what the solution could be. And you know, I'm getting this sort of idea that sometimes you feel there is no solution and that it will always be this way. But I'm feeling like it's not sustainable energy. It's not a situation that can keep, I mean, nothing goes on forever. Everything always ends up transforming into something else eventually. And look at that. I'm not really shuffling with intention, and the Fool comes out. So again, I can't help but feel like, yeah, this is something that's going to resolve, and you'll find yourself at a new beginning. You'll find yourself here as the Fool, where you're starting again with something, and it feels like it needs that break. Like, you know, when something is just, I can imagine it in my mind, but I'm struggling with the words for some reason. It feels like it's something that's reaching a tipping point. That's the best words I can give to what I'm feeling right now, is that there's a tipping point where, you know, you can't keep going in the same direction anymore. Yeah, see? 10 of Wands. Intense burdens, sacrifice, unimaginable work conditions, you know, is what's coming to mind. So it's like you're living or working, or you're in a situation that's just not sustainable as it is. You're in sacrifice mode, you're in survival mode as you're sacrificing, and it almost feels like this needs some release. You know, this needs a fresh beginning. You can't keep functioning in this way. There's something here that needs resolution. Now, this doesn't necessarily involve another person. It could, but the idea of it being a personal issue, that makes me think that this is some pattern that you're living under, Libra, or like, it's a way of doing things that's not serving you, and it's not serving you. But there's this difficulty in releasing this pattern because maybe in some cases you're not sure how to release it, or maybe it's so ingrained in your day that you're like, how do I shift this whole day then? And I feel like it's something like that. It could, for some of you, be a situation with another person where you just like, I can't keep going like this because things are so out of balance. Perhaps it's a situation for some of you where you're actually sacrificing some part of yourself for another. And so the roadway of give and receive is out of balance. That roadway is out of balance. You're either giving, or you're receiving. And it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable as it is. This could also be, if it's not a relationship, it could also be that there's literally a problem with finances where you're putting out more than you're making. And seeing the Six of Pentacles in reverse says that there could actually be an imbalance in the financial aspects. Excuse me. And that might need to come into balance, that it can't keep moving this way where either someone's giving, or someone's taking, or there's more money leaving the household than there is coming in. So you could be in a place where the personal issue is financial. You could be in a place where the personal issue is a pattern in your day that needs resolution. This could be a relationship where things are out of balance and there's sacrifice and people-pleasing going on. Regardless, it does seem like there is a resolution, and it's going to require surrender, as all resolutions tend to. We have to sometimes look at things from a different perspective. Seeing the Hangman in reverse, usually the Hangman is upside down, so you're getting him right side up. So it's sort of like, I'm feeling the guidance of saying, like, are you being flexible? Are you being adaptable? Are you making space to see things from a different perspective, or are you stuck seeing it one way? And if you're stuck seeing it one way, then that might make this personal issue sort of harder to resolve, or it might be more difficult to see what needs to be released. If you're only seeing it from one perspective, you might be stuck saying, well, this is on them. This is not me, it's them, and not seeing your own role in this. Or if it's a part of your day or a pattern, and you might be like, well, I don't know how to change it. I don't know. This is outside of my control. And for some, in some ways it could be outside of your control, but I'm seeing the cards that I'm seeing, and these oracle cards, it sort of makes me feel like it is within your control, Libra, that there are actions you can take and steps you can take to sort of bring this into resolution. But it might involve, well, actually it's not might, it's going to involve you needing to be flexible and to surrender something. So you might have to surrender your burdens. You might have to surrender, if we were talking financial, you might have to surrender some spending, or you might have to find a way to add more income if the spending has been already sort of trimmed down. Or there may be a different way to do things that's more efficient. Or there might be a different way to organize your day. Like, there's always ways to make adjustments. And I feel like this reading is guiding you to make adjustments in some way in order to bring a personal issue to resolution. And we see the Two of Swords on the bottom of the deck, which tells me that this is something that you may be willfully blind to. It's a Two of Swords, so we're not down the swords storyline so far that this situation is now reaching a place where you're, kind of in that over analyzing. We're not there yet. You haven't allowed yourself to analyze this because it's too, there's something about it that's too triggering. When you think about it, it's almost easier to keep the blindfold on. And at this point, I feel like you do have a choice, and you're being guided to choose mindfully and consciously. So to take the blindfold off and to really look at things the way they are and say, what do I need to release? How can I bring this personal issue into resolution? And what aspects of this are within my control? It seems like that is an important exercise to do, and you don't have to do this exercise with anyone. This is sort of between you and you, sort of sitting with yourself and saying, okay, if I were to look at this from a different perspective, what could I see if I'm more flexible with my day, or my relationship, or my finances, or the patterns? How can I disturb the patterns of my day in a way that allows me to sort of bring a resolution to something that's creating an issue for me? So it's interesting. This could take the shape of just about anything, in the sense of whatever needs to come into resolution. It does seem to feel like, it really feels like you have to release something, that you have to be willing to release something and be flexible in order to see this resolution happen, Libra. And to see that it can't sustain itself as a one-way highway. It has to be in balance. So whatever it is has to be in balance. Like if it's financial, the finances have to be in balance so that what's coming in is more than what's going out, or at least equal to, And if it's about you people pleasing with someone, or you sacrificing yourself, is that sustainable? That's a question you need to sort of ask yourself. And how much longer can you keep operating this way? If it's a pattern in your day that you're like, I need to change the way I do things in my day, what supports do you need to put that into place? What reminders do you need to put that into place? Like sometimes if we're shifting patterns in our day, reminders are helpful. Notes are helpful. Committing to some activity that changes the course of your day is helpful. You know what I mean? Pattern disruption can be very helpful, but only insofar as how much you commit to it. Let's see, what does Libra need to surrender or surrender to? I do feel like you could have a new beginning here. You just have to sort of look at the situation from a different perspective. You have to look at it, right? Because right now you might have the blindfold on. You don't want to look at it because it's overwhelming, or it's just, you're not sure what to do about it. But the first step is to take the blindfold off. Oh, interesting. And surrender stubbornness. Yes, being flexible to look at things from a different perspective and to see where you can make a change. It says here, if you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. So you might be seeing this hangman here because part of this situation is that you're stubborn, and that's fair. You're seeing things one way and it's hard for you to shift to see it in another way. And that's why this hangman's in reverse. That's why you're seeing this Two of Swords. But it's up to you. You can change your way of looking at things. You can. And it doesn't have to be this one way. Only you can look at it from a different perspective and see the truth in a situation, and then communicate lovingly with yourself to change things. It's interesting. Look at this. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. So this is along the same theme. That could be considered a personal issue, that you're holding on to these limited ideas or beliefs about yourself, and they got to go. They're outdated. You need to release them. It says here, let go of limited ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. And I would suggest that you could also release outdated beliefs about, if you're dealing in this situation with a person, you might be holding on to outdated beliefs about that person. You might be the one that's bringing up things from the past and saying, well, remember when you did this on August 6, 1982? I remember. And I stood by you, so now you have to stay. It could be one of those situations where it's time to release that past. And it's time to release this idea that you can only see things from one perspective. The bottom of the deck says surrender resentment. So that's what I'm talking about here, Libra. There's something here that's got to go. It's fueling the personal issue instead of putting it to rest. And it says here, holding on to resentments only poisons you. Try to forgive others for their shortcomings and keep moving forward toward positive situations in your life. So there may be something you need to look at from another perspective in order to sort of shift your beliefs about it and release these resentments because this situation for sure is not sustainable. And so I can see why you have resentments. And why you might be holding on to some limited beliefs or ideas and feeling stubborn and saying, no, it has to be this way, or it's this way or the highway. Or you might be saying to yourself, I can't possibly continue this way anymore. And I like that you're seeing this message here that you can own your power, because sometimes when we hang on to resentments, that only weakens our power. It removes your empowerment, right? And it doesn't actually change anything into being more sustainable when we hang on to resentments. It's kind of the opposite. So this has been a very interesting reading for you, Libra. It really feels like you're being guided to look at something for what it is. Look at what you need to release in order to bring a personal issue, whichever area in your life it's happening, to bring that to resolution. And it feels like it's going to be a climactic moment of a new beginning when you do that. And that there's some stuff here that you can clear out. Stubbornness, outdated beliefs, and resentments. That's going to help you along this path. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that for you, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. Libra, sending you so much love and light. And I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends. Take care.